Shot. He scores! And the Ballers win! Helena is no longer undefeated!
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Barons win! Barons win!
Cody Jansen stopped 92 out of 95 shots, including a penalty shot in overtime. Somehow he still only wound up the third star of the game.
You like that?
Jansen has a heart.
You're smoking crack!
Alrighty, I feel you. It's hockey time. World Hockey Report. Cody Jansen with you on 12-Ounce Sports. Ho ho, it's Wednesday. Nothing short of hockey to talk about as well. It was going all throughout the night with the Olympics. The Oilers have won another one. We got a little bit of drama as well. Crosby hits a milestone, and we've got the biggest hockey game of the year coming up. I said it. It's the biggest hockey game of the year. It's one of the best hockey rivalries in the world. Doesn't matter what league, what level, what gender. Canada, USA. If you're not fired up for it, check your pulse or probably just stop watching the show right now. It's that simple. It's Cody Jansen, World Hockey Report. Follow us on Twitter at Janer31_ and the show at World Hockey RPT. Today, in about 20 minutes' time, we'll catch up with former NHLer Jason Strudwick. Get some funny stories out of him. Hey, I know the Oilers are playing well. They made a questionable move today. I'll ask you about that in about 5 minutes' time as well. We are going to preview Canada, USA with the icebreaker herself. It's Alexis Downey coming up from Stadium. We'll connect with her around 12:40, but we got a lot of Olympic talk to get to first. And hey, shout out to Pro Rock Hockey Sticks, the absolute best in the business. That's where we're coming to you live today from. It's the Pro Rock Broadcast Studios, beautiful Alberta. I'm Cody Jansen. This is World Hockey Report. And connect with us anytime. Join the conversation, 12-Ounce Sports, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I see the messages are already rolling in. And, I mean, we'll get to it. There's so much I want to talk about. But first, we do have a contest going on right now. There's the World Hockey Report prize package. And I'll let you get in early right now. I'll give you one more chance. We asked Predict It before, and everyone was picking either Canada or USA. So it's simple right now. You want the World Hockey Report prize pack? There is swag, there's shirts, there's hats, there's golf balls, there's gloves. There's so much stuff. It's a prize pack. There is everything you could look for. And all you got to do right now, take us on Twitter at World Hockey RPT, tweet at us, use that use the at World Hockey Report, and just let us know. Final score. Who do you think's going to win tonight? Who's going to score? You want bonus points? You want to break a tie? You know what? Let us know who's going to have the game-winning goal. You can do it at World Hockey RPT. Just tweet at us right now. You get entered to win the prize pack today. Can we talk? Do we want to talk Canada or the Americans first? I mean, it's such a slippery slope when you talk about Olympics, and everyone's going to go right to the excuses. Right away, everyone wants to talk, well, the NHLers aren't there. Well, COVID. Well, it was in China. Not that many people wanted to go. Are you not a little bit embarrassed? A tiny bit embarrassed by USA Hockey and Hockey Canada both bowing out in the quarterfinals? Like, these are two hockey powers, hockey nations. I mean, the amount of rinks in Canada, I think it's 29 times more, probably 30 times more than in Slovakia. I don't know the U.S. number, so don't even get me started on that. But we're talking about a country that has invested how many millions, probably billions, let's be real, into the men's program. And just because we can't get any NHLers, we can't get through the damn quarterfinals in the Olympics against Sweden? Come on. I know Sweden went to the Olympic finals in 2014, but that was still best on best. Just because it's not best on best, just because it's not NHLers, doesn't mean Canada should have a team that can't make it to the semifinals or compete. Like, it's an absolute failure. Call it what it is. Everyone's going, oh, well, they had some success. Does success really matter or count if it's against China and Germany? Like, you played China twice. They're an absolute joke of a team. Like, you should never be in those games. I think they were both won by, 5 goals? I don't know. Why are we pumping everyone's tires around that? That ain't a competitive hockey country. Give me a break. And Germany, they got hot at the right time in 2018. I mean, they weren't a good hockey team. Call it like it is. Germany was terrible at the Olympics, and those are the only two countries Canada had success against. It's embarrassing that Hockey Canada didn't do that. And I mean, Adam was on Twitter saying, hey, maybe Claude Julien's to blame. Maybe it's the style. I mean, they were sitting back. They looked gassed. They're still professionals. You can't play a back-to-back. You're tired because you played China? China, out of all teams, is the one that really gassed you. No, I mean, they were just stubborn. They were trying to rope-a-dope Sweden, it seemed. They were sitting back. I mean, Lars Johansson came out. He didn't play since the first game. The Swedish netminder played game 1 against Latvia, and he just sat on the bench for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Comes in against Canada and posts a shutout. That's how easy the Canadians were to play against. That's how bad our preparation for the game was. That's how bad the game plan was for Canada. That we posed zero threats to Sweden. That's sad. When you've got a lot of up-and-comers that would love to get this opportunity. I'm telling you, Kent Johnson, that guy got screwed over. I wanted to see more from, Eric Stahl. I wanted to see more from Odell. There was players on this team that are really damn good hockey players, and they didn't play like it. That's the issue. You can say, oh, well, they had short notice. They had to turn it around. No, the only game Canada played half decent that you can look back and give yourself a pat on the back is the Germany game, and that was under Jeremy Colleton. So was it coaching? Was it the game plan? Did that change drastically? Because the Americans handed it to them. And, I mean, your victory, your moral victories, whatever you want to call it, your pats on the back after that came against China. Kind of embarrassing. And if you're the Americans, I mean, we're all laughing at you after losing to Slovakia. Fun fact, I went to bed with like 5 minutes left in that game. I'm said, nope, no more. I'm done. It's 2-1. Slovakia's done. They're not playing Slafkovsky enough. The Americans got it in the bag. I like Strauss-Mann in the tournament, and we'll dive into that maybe next week because there's a lot I do want to break down. Patrick Rybar out of Slovakia too. Could these guys be getting NHL looks after this? Like, there was 2 elite goaltenders in this tournament, and they were playing against each other in that USA-Slovakia game. I think Strauss-Mann's earned himself an NHL contract. Rybar, he had a better game. Doesn't mean he's the better prospect. No, let's not kid ourselves here. But the Americans, how do you blow it? 47 seconds left. The Slovaks win. And then you don't let Matty Beniers go in the shootout. One of your most skilled players. Like, unless they were doing shootouts at practice and he was just absolute dog and we didn't see it, there's really no excuse for that. So again, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Join the conversation anytime. We're just talking Olympic hockey, your 12-ounce sports. It's Cody Jansen. Join the conversation on Facebook and YouTube right now. Are you embarrassed by Canada and USA's performance? The men's team. The women's are phenomenal. They're going to play in a gold medal game tonight. It's going to be a barn burner. Probably bet the overtime because it's going to be a phenomenal hockey game. We'll get to some of your comments right now on Twitter. Of course, chime in at World Hockey RPT. Seth Hagen says apparently they should have just taken every guy from the Saskatchewan Senior Hockey League. Apparently they are just as good as the NHL guys. ... Is that a shot at me, Seth? I don't know who you're trying to take a shot at. The Saskatchewan Senior guys? I don't know. I've seen there. Oz says, I wonder what the backup plan was. They should know full well the potential was the NHL was not going, so why wasn't this team being worked on for the past year or two? A pool of 50 players that are in constant communication with coaches, minicamps, Zoom meetings, etc. I fully agree with that, Oz. I'll chunk it a like. I 100% agree with you. There should have been a backup plan in place, and I get it. They wanted NHLers to go, but from the get-go this season, the talk was if COVID affects our leave, the Olympics are gone. So Hockey Canada, again, that's another failure on their behalf. Who's to blame for that? Well, it's the people in charge. Jay Hockey says, I kind of agree. We're known as a hockey nation. We can't roster a legit team with no NHL players. I'm willing to bet nations where soccer's their main sport could still roster a good team without their World Cup players. Would agree with that. A little bit different when we're just talking about World Cup players and, maybe if it's like England and you take out the Premier League, it's a different story. But I fully, that's really what I agree with. Colin Bennett says, why? You couldn't replace guys like Cracknell, Winnick, and Noro with younger and more talented players. Odella, why you couldn't? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to read this. It's a little confusing, Colin. I get your message, though. And he says Odell had a big hit to start the tournament, then set up out. Canada has to have a better selection out there. That's what I said. Odell had a great game against Germany. Great period against Germany. And after that, where were they? Where was your Cracknells? Where was your Winnicks? Nero was fine on the back end. Matt Robertson was fine. Owen Power was good. But, I don't know. Adam said, okay, just send the World Junior team. And honestly, the World Junior team would have done the exact same, and they would have appreciated it probably more. Let's be real. Maybe they would have given a better effort. Maybe there would have been more energy tonight on the big ice. It's not to say that Eric Stahl and those guys didn't appreciate it to the max. I'm sure it was a special moment that none of these guys are ever going to forget. But you bring Devin Levi along, you don't play. Matt Tompkins was good. But again, you've got Eddie Pasquale starting, some of the bigger games. Give Devin Levi the experience. That's going to be your goalie of the future. That's the only one of the three with NHL potential right now is Devin Levi. So why is Hockey Canada not trying to do this to bolster their... if Hockey Canada treats Devin Levi right here, gives him the opportunity, maybe it makes the difference down the road in a World Championships when Buffalo... He's in Buffalo. Yeah, he is. When Buffalo is on the fringe of making the playoffs, maybe it's been his first or second NHL season, and they're like, hey, come to the World Championships. And he's like, well, I'm a little tired or whatever. But, Hockey Canada did me right at the Olympics. They treated me right. Now I'm going to go. I don't know. Could be a difference maker there. Again, this is a conversation that, we could have for 5 hours, and I don't think we're ever going to find a perfect solution, so let's move on quickly to some NHL hits. Shout out Sidney Crosby. He's got 500. Also, Gino, hilarious comment. He's just on Instagram. I can't remember who posted it, but Gino said a congrats, tagged himself for the apple there. Tyler Toffoli gets traded to Calgary. I don't think that moves the needle. He's a great player. He's a damn good hockey player. He's going to score goals. But what does that matter if you can't put it together in playoffs with guys like Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan? I'm not fully convinced that is going to change the way the Calgary Flames are once the regular season ends. Would love to be proved wrong, but again, still not thinking that one's moving the needle. Brendan Lemieux, what did you think about the dive? Dive, punch from Kane. A lot of comments on Twitter. I can't get to all of those. People are saying both. It's obviously a big flop. Kane definitely clocked him one. I don't know. I got no problem with it. And I also don't have a problem with Dylan Cousins chasing down Brock Nelson and giving him a cross-check. Nelson's whacking him all game. He's, he ran into the goalie as well at one point. Cousins has sent it a message. He gets a $2,000 fine. Stop talking about suspensions for all that stuff. I mean, come on. He skates down and he cross-checks. Is it an intent to injure? Yes. But so was the 5 slashes that Brock Nelson got in on Dylan Cousins, too. You don't think he's trying to injure his ankle when he's taking a whack there? How about on the wrist? People, give your head a shake. Is it dirty? Yes. Is it unnecessary? Yes. Is it something that winners do? Also, yes. That's where we'll leave that at. The Oilers, they send out Stuart Skinner to Mikko Koskinen comes back up. Is it the right choice? I mean, you got Smitty, you got Koskinen. Is that really going to be Ken Holland's tandem? Are they just going to roll with them until one of them gets injured again? Because that seems like it's likely to happen in the next month or so. The way this team's been playing and their goaltendings have struggled to stay healthy. I don't know. Do you call Skinner back up later in the year? You can't keep him on the taxi squad. He's got to be playing games. But there's got to be a better situation here for him. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong again. You can let me know anytime at Janner31_ on Twitter. The show is at World Hockey RPT. We still got Alexis Downey to come up, preview Canada, USA in the gold medal game. That's coming up 9 o'clock Alberta time tonight, 11 o'clock if you're out east. So it's a late one. Grab a coffee, stay up for that. We're going to talk with former NHLer Jason Strudwick. After the break, it's World Hockey Report. Who Hoops fans, the latest offer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is too good to pass up. I'm talking Between the Legs 360 Windmill Good. New customers can bet just $1 on any team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. If the sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still take your shot at a big day payday. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Basketball Contest. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus, minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call the TN Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccp.org/chat. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Take your game to the next level with Pro Rock hockey sticks. Pro Rock is changing the way we buy top-of-the-line twigs. They're lightweight, balanced, and provide the perfect kick point, whether you're a pro hockey player or a beer league legend. Pro Rock hockey sticks are made for you. They're at a price point you can't beat, so check them out today at prorock.com. Play like a Pro Rock.
What we do here is go back.
It's World Hockey Report. Cody Jansen coming to you live from the Pro Rock Broadcast Studios. Today, joined by former NHLer Jason Strudwick is on the line. Struddy, I want to go back, and we always have a little bit of fun with people. You know, what was your welcome to the NHL moment? Like, when you cracked into the league, I want to know, like, what was your first thought when you were kind of like, oh, damn, this is the NHL now?
Maybe how nice the buffet was at lunchtime. You know, in the minors, we used to have to just scrounge around, and there was never really organized lunches. I mean, this is a number of years ago, so maybe it's changed. But back then, there was nothing. So I remember I got called up, and I go to my first pregame meal, and there's salmon and chicken and steak. I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want to leave this place. It's amazing. But you know, and on the ice, I think just skating around and seeing how big the guys were, you know, players whose hockey cards I'd collected as a young man, you know, or as a kid. Also now I'm on the same ice with them. It blows your mind. You know, I was never a 5-star, you know, prospect where people are like, oh my God, look at Jason Strudwick when he was 10. This guy's amazing. Like I was good, but I mean, there's a lot of good kids, right? I wasn't elite. So now all of a sudden we have that situation, and it's just amazing. So you get in there and you get to see it and be a part of it. It's
What do you remember about your first NHL goal? Walk me through. You remember the play and who it was on?
Yeah, so it took me a long time. I think it was over 100 games before I scored my first NHL goal. And, you know, I was in LA. I remember I was playing before the Canucks, and the puck just kind of scored right into the middle of the ice. For some reason, I don't usually do this, but I jumped in there, grabbed the puck, threw it down, and just shot it on net. I didn't see it go in the net. And my line, you know, I was out there with Bertuzzi and Jovanovski. And remember, we all came in the pile. They were so excited. And I think Jovanovski's stick hit Bertuzzi in the head. And he had to get some stitches. So we were all laughing about it after the game. Like, it was just so surreal, right? Like, I mean, everyone loves scoring goals, but it didn't drive me. You know, I like shutting other people down. I like being mean, you know, like hitting and, you know, every now and then slashing when the ref wasn't watching. But so to score a goal was really cool, but just the reaction of my teammates. And I always felt that when a guy who didn't score a lot scored, you'd be so excited for them.
Who was the toughest guy to defend out there when you were playing? Like who was the one guy when you're on the ice with them, you're just like, oh, this is not going to be a fun game?
Yeah, I didn't like the quick guys. You know, Paul Kariya, Timo Solani. the bigger guys like Eric Lindros or Joe Thorne, I didn't mind it because they were so big. I thought I could get a piece of them and slow them down. And listen, I'm not going to suggest I shut those guys down, but at least I had a chance. Guys like the little quick guys, it was so hard. It felt like you were just chasing wind, and so talented, those guys. So anyone who was on the smaller side that was quick, I didn't, it was hard for me. The big bodies, no problem. You want to hit, let's do it.
Who's the toughest guy you ever fought?
Well, unfortunately, I fought a lot of them. They were very tough. I would have liked to have had a little bit easier road, but George the Rock was probably the problem with George is that not only was he tougher than you or me, but he was a lot stronger than me. So going into a fight with him, my best outcome is tying. Right, I'm hoping for a tie. And, I can tell you when you're going into a fight, hoping that the best outcome is you just tie the guy or a draw, that's not a good feeling. There's most of the fights I felt like I had a chance to at least maybe get a decision, not knock the guy out, but at least get a decision. But with George, I was just hoping for a tie, and the time we fought, and he just absolutely tossed me around like a rag doll. Absolutely, it felt like 10 minutes. And after that, we never fought again. There's no sense. I didn't want to hurt his hands, and I didn't want to get beat up. So I was like, we both know you're going to beat me up. Let's just keep playing the game.
So how did you end up going? You were an Islanders pick, correct?
I was Islander draft pick, yeah.
How did you end up going to Vancouver? Was it part of a trade, or was it an off-season leave?
Yeah, so, I played my first year in the minors. I got two NHL games, and I got sent down, and then my next year I didn't play anything in the NHL. Then I get finally my third year I get called up at Christmas, and I'm up there playing, and it's going really well. And Mike Milbury, he said, Struddy, we're gonna, I want to just a couple of weeks before the trade deadline. He's like, we really made a mistake on you. We think you're a good player. We could see you being a leader for our team for years to come, and we want to sign you to a contract extension. Like all these great things. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So now, we're going into, we play Edmonton, my hometown. I play as an Islander against Oilers. It was a great moment. And now the game goes to Vancouver. And I remember on the plane, I was with some buddies. They're like, do you guys think you're going to get traded? I'm like, no, there's no way. Like Mike Milbury told me, like, I'm going to be on this team he's going to sign me an extension. That's all I wanted. Like, I was so proud to be an Islander, right? When I was traded, I was very happy. Don't get me wrong. But, at the time, I was very happy. I was young and naive. So I roll into Vancouver, get into my hotel, and 10 minutes later, the phone rings. This is before cell phone. And it's like, hey, Jason, it's Mike Milbury. I'm like, hey, how you doing? It's like, just so you know, we just traded to Vancouver. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we just traded to Vancouver. So the phone, he's like, Mike Keenan's going to call you. So I hang up. My roommate, Claude Lapointe's like, what happened? I said, well, I guess I just got traded. He's like, no, someone's pranking you. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. Phone rings. Mike Keenan here. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, hey, we just traded for you. We're happy to have you. Be in the lobby in 10 minutes. Someone's going to pick you up, take you to a press conference at the rink, and then drive you to your hotel. And like, all right. So it was just a whirlwind. So again, before cell phones, I get down there. I do this interview, and as I'm walking in to the interview, Gino's walking out, and Gino Ojic was who I was traded for, a longtime Canuck and fan favorite. And he just said, I guess he told the media, he said, I don't mind getting traded. I don't like getting traded for nobody. And I'm like, what the like, I was pissed. So, I do my interview, and I'm upset about that, and whatever. They pay me to a hotel. So within like 2 hours, my whole life just completely changed. And I call my parents, like, so how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I just got traded to Vancouver. They're like, what? Because this is 20 years ago, more than that, before we everything, we had all the information we have now. And I'm like, yeah, I just got traded. So here I am now playing for the Canucks the next morning. Mike Keenan says, I'm not sure if you're playing tonight. I took pregame skate. He's like, you're playing. And I was so mad at Gino. I'm like, I'm going to fight this guy. He's going to beat me up. I don't care. Like, I'm not taking this shit. So I'm chasing Gino around trying to fight him. We end up fighting, and he beats me up. And at least I got my pound of flesh, right? And I remember the guys on the team were like, we can't believe you fought Gino. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? And it was probably the best thing I could have done, because it got me, my teammates to understand, like, I was, willing to fight. And Mike Keenan just loved it. I remember he was so excited. And, I'm not a violent guy, but it worked out really well, in that situation. After the game, the fan or the media said, well, why'd you fight Gino? I'm like, well, because he said he didn't know who he was, so I thought I'd introduce myself. And that was a great line. And like, after that, I know I don't replace Gino Ojic, but people are like, okay, this guy's here to play, and it'll be fine.
all-time line right there. Hey, you played with Rich Pilon as well, obviously. I mean, he's a friend of the show here. We know his son, too. What was it like playing with Rich? You got a funny story you can share?
Oh, man, that guy, he was just a wrecking ball, right? And he loved to be physical and hit. And I actually really liked watching him play, and I loved being his teammate for the short amount of time I was there. But I'll never forget it. We're playing Philadelphia. And this is when they had the Wrecking Crew, right? Or when the Legion of Doom. It was like Lindros, Leclerc, and what was the other guy? Not Reichel, but anyways, the Swede. So huge line. And the first shift, or one of the first shifts, Richie hammers Lindros from behind, and he gets kicked out of the game. So the coach comes down and is like, "Hey, you're now playing against that line." I'm like, "What?" Like, I was supposed to play against the third, fourth line. So also now I go from 10 minutes to probably twice that maybe. And it was awesome. And Renberg, that was the other guy, Renberg. And I loved playing against him. And it was so much fun to play against him. And after the game, Richie's like, "Good job, Sonny." I'm like, "Thanks, buddy. Like, thanks for the chance." Like, "No problem." And that was it. Like, he was such a fun-loving guy and so good to his teammates. But I'll never forget that game. And it was kind of the first game I got to have a major role. And it was a pretty big jump for me in that second.
Him and Lindros had it out multiple times, too. He's a great storyteller. Anytime you get him going on that, it's hilarious. Hey, also, we didn't mention, I mean, you got a couple of big-name cousins as well. You might have heard of them, Rob and Scott Niedermeyer. Okay, I got to ask, though, because you played with Rob overseas in that first lockout season. Like, one, why the hell Hungary? And two, like, what were you guys doing over there? There's no way you weren't enjoying the scenery and cheap beer.
Yeah, so we'd hooked up in the summer to go and spend some time together, and they said, like, "What do you want to do?" And we both agreed that if it looked like the season wasn't going to start till it hadn't started before Christmas, we'd try to find someone to go play together. So just one day, I want to say like maybe just after Christmas, I'm cruising on the Oilers or on the NHLPA website, and I see this interest in playing Hungary. So I click on it, and they're looking for a forward and D. So I called the guy right away, and they had like a middleman in Toronto. And I said, "Hey, whatever, this is Jason Strudwick." He's like, "Oh, yeah, great." I said, "My cousin and I would like to go. Can you let us know if they're interested?" So I went to bed. I didn't think it would happen. I got a call back the very next morning. They're like, "They'll take you." So we each got paid $9,000 to go over there and play for like 2 months. It wasn't a wealthy league, but they gave us a place. We each had our own rooms. It was sick. We had an incredible hotel, 3 different restaurants we could eat for free. And we had the best time. I mean, the experience was amazing. Hungary is an amazing place. Great people. We loved it. We absolutely loved it there. And I'd recommend visiting there to anybody. And we had people that, an older man that took us around and kind of showed us Budapest and Hungary. We had a guy who was about in his 30s that would take us out for some good times. Then we had a younger lady around 20 that would kind of help us with our day-to-day, because the language was a pretty big barrier. But yeah, it was unbelievable, and we had the best time. 2 months, I loved it. I absolutely loved that, being over there for that time.
Was there any stories of just the culture shock where it kind of hit you, or like, "Oh shit, not in Canada anymore. Nope, this is different to the States"?
Yeah, there's a lot. It was amazing. But we found this huge market down. It's a pretty famous market. And, during the day, no one really go there. It was, it would just be, we found it and we started going there. So it was us and like all these like 70-plus-year-old men. They were sitting around and they'd have this heavy, like kind of like a borscht and then mulled wine or spiced mulled wine. And so we'd have that. We'd go down there and the guys started recognizing, like, not that I think they knew we were, but they started seeing that we were there regularly. And they'd always say hi to us and talk to us and like try to talk to us, right? And so one day we brought the young translator with us, and she helped us translate, and they explained who he was. So they started to become our buddies. So we'd meet these guys, once or twice a week over 2 months. Like, we kind of get to know them. It was hilarious. But this mulled wine, some days you'd have a little bit too much. You have to slow down because we practiced at night. But it was pretty fun. It was like, that is a unique experience, especially as 2 Canadian guys that don't speak the language.
You're just crushing mulled wine before practice. I was going to ask, though, if it was still kind of like a senior league like it is now, where like a lot of the guys have normal 8 to 5 jobs. They're slugging away, and then they're going to practice at 8:30 at night.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys who had other jobs, right? The league weren't paid very much. I think it's changed a bit now, but they weren't highly paid guys. So we had like teachers, carpenters. They were, and we'd practice, maybe 2-3 times a week. Yeah, it was neat. And then guys would invite us over to their homes, with them and their girlfriend. They'd make us dinner. It was such a neat experience because it really felt like you were, if you go visit a city, you kind of see a bit of high-end tourist places or the ones you want to see. But when you're, now on a team, being invited to people's homes, being taken kind of behind the scenes of what is truly it's like to be a Hungarian, it's really special. A friend, the guy, the gentleman is a little older, George Kasai was his name, Yuri, and they would take us to, they took us to like a friend's kind of farm. We spent the night there, and my cousin, I think, went hunting for boars. It was crazy. The experiences that we had were like we way past what we anyone the hospitality we got, and quite frankly, it's one of my best hockey memories.
That's awesome. It's unreal, too, that you're by Budapest. No, it's a great place for sure. You could be living in Siberia or northern Finland where you don't see the sun for 3 months. So that's pretty cool. But you also got to spend time in Lugano in Switzerland. And I want to ask about that. How did that come about that you go over there? And was that a big part in you deciding to play in the Spangler Cup later on for Team Canada?
So I had a contract signed. I was with the Rangers, and the Rangers decided they weren't going to sign me. They were going to sign this other guy who never played. But I signed a 2-year contract signed or ready with the Islanders. But they fired their GM just before I was able to sign it. So everyone else had already signed their Jason Strudwick, right? So it's not like I'm Drew Doughty. So I was replaceable because other teams wanted to sign me. They said no, and they move on. So I had nothing. And I just had my wife out, was one of my best years in NHL. I had nothing. So, what to do. So I said to my agent, try to get me to Europe. And he called me. He's like, I found this team in Lugano. I had no idea where it was, but I knew Switzerland's beautiful. I'm like, I'm in. So let's say I agreed on a Tuesday. I flew out on Thursday, got there Friday, and I played Saturday. And it was amazing. Lugano's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. My house, or our place we lived, was incredible. There was like, you could hear cows with bells walking just in the near distance. The mountains all around you. It was truly amazing. It was amazing. I just got married. My wife came over, and it was like a honeymoon for 6 months. And I absolutely loved it. It was, and then again, one of my favorite hockey experiences because it was so different. Who gets to go to a place like Lugano? So, that I really did want to play for the Spangler Cup. Pat Quinn was the coach, so I was asked. I'm like, I'll do whatever you guys need me to do. And so I ended up playing it. We won silver. I lost in the gold medal game, but again, my parents came over. My sister and her, soon-to-be husband came over to watch that. It is just, those experiences are, you can't pay for that experience. You can't pay to play on the Spangler Cup. But here you are in this beautiful place, Davos, just an amazing, amazing setup. And the way that Team Canada treated you and your family, it was incredible. I look back as one of the great memories of my career.
That's awesome. Okay, we got Jason Strudwick here. It's Cody James. I've got 2 more for you, Struddy. So one, I just want to ask about, coming back to Edmonton and playing for the Oilers. Obviously, it's a pretty special one. Were you a little nervous when you signed, though? Just knowing kind of the state of the team at the time, post-Cup run, knowing the pressure that would be involved in Edmonton, or was it all excitement? You're just like, hey, I've got to play in Chicago, Vancouver, New York, all these cool places. Now I get to play a chance close to home.
I was really excited to come home. I think I was 30 something at that point. I was very comfortable in who I was as a person and as a player. Maybe as a 20-year-old it'd be different. You're still trying to find your identity for both of those things. But I came back, I knew what I was, and people that were trying to build me up to be more or less, I didn't really care because I knew what I could do. I felt I performed really well as an Oiler for my 3 years. The first year I thought we should have made the playoffs. I think we really dropped the ball there towards the end of the year. Then after that, the team got progressively worse. There were some issues, but as far as coming back, I was very proud to be an Oiler and to come back. So yeah, really happy with it.
Okay, last one for you. It's a simple one. Who's the best D-man in the game today? Who do you think?
I love Hedman. I just think he's so big, the way he moves, the way he jumps up in the play. He'll make a DDD pass, a breakout pass to the wing, and literally jump past the wing and get the pass back. Like he's 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is. I love the way he plays. He's amazing.
That's a fair take. Okay, then pick one for me. Who would you rather have, Adam Fox or Cale Makar?
Oh man, I love watching both these guys. Oh man,
hot seat here.
I think Makar has more natural talent. I think Fox is really smart. He's very subtle. His moves are very subtle that he does. I think Makar is more of a highlight reel. My God, that's a tough one. Oof. I'll go Cale Makar. But honestly, this is like picking between my two kids, which one I love more. So it's a very, very close.
Okay, we can stay friends of the show. Then you pick Cale Makar. Good former Brooks man. Yeah. Sturdy, this has been unreal. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You enjoy all you're doing in Edmonton, too, at TSN there at 1260 and all that. Love that, too. Wish we could have heard more of your calls at the World Junior. Shit, we didn't even get into that. You're supposed to be calling games, and they canceled it on you.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to do it this summer.
Hey, there we go. August. Hopefully it's coming back to Alberta. Sturdy, this has been awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Talk to you later, Cody.
Hoops fans, the latest offer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is too good to pass up. I'm talking Between the Lags 360 Windmill Good. New customers can bet just $1 on any team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. If the sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still take your shot at a big day payday. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy basketball contests. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus, minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call the TN Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccp.org/chat. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Take your game to the next level with Pro Rock hockey sticks. Pro Rock is changing the way we buy top-of-the-line twigs. They're lightweight, balanced, and provide the perfect kick point, whether you're a pro hockey player or a beer league legend. Pro Rock hockey sticks are made for you. They're at a price point you can't beat, so check them out today at prorock.com. Play like a Pro Rock.
What we do here is go back.
Huge thanks to Jason Strudwick for hopping on the show. Talking about some of his Oiler days, couple of pro hockey stories. We got to lighten it up once in a while. But we do have a big game tonight. It's the biggest one on the calendar. Everyone's been looking forward to it. USA-Canada, a rematch of, well, pretty much most Olympics here. 2018 was the big one, the USA on top. And to break it all down, Alexis Downey from Icebreakers over at Stadium joins us. Alexis, how you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, it's been a good week so far. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, outside of the disappointing hockey overnight on the men's side of things, I'm really excited. It's a night that I've had circled for a long time. We all kind of expected it to be, just the golden evening of hockey in a sense of we had a good, idea it was going to be USA Canada, and now it's officially here. Like just the build up. It feels like it's 4 years in the making, which it fully has been. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Alexis, this is becoming, if not the best rivalry in hockey right now.
It really is. I mean, we're so lucky that we are getting this rivalry tonight. And like you said, we knew it was going to happen, but The talent level in this game tonight is going to be off the charts. And I really think that the women's hockey has been far more exciting to watch in the Olympics than the men's hockey for sure. And I'm really looking forward to the match tonight.
What did you take away from the round robin game where Canada obviously got the better of USA, but the Americans did kind of control and dominate at times, and they heavily outshot Canada?
They really did. And that's why it's kind of interesting, because I think they outshot them. The numbers were 53-27, which is a lot of shots. But, we know that Canada is such an offensive team. They have a lot of depth in their scoring, and they've got a lot of speed. But the U.S. has easily matched that speed on the other side as well. I think one of the areas that kind of hurt at least the U.S. team is kind of, finding the right shots sometimes, because a lot of their shots kind of come from the outside. And I think just their scoring opportunities weren't quite there in that first game, and they kind of lost a little bit of steam when, Canada took the lead. And I think that another thing for them is, taking advantage of all of the power plays that they had, because I know they only scored on one of them and they had quite a handful of chances. Canada was in the box a lot in that first game. So if they're able to take advantage of those power play opportunities, I think that this game could be a little bit closer than we may think tonight.
So when you look at Canada, would you say they have the upper hand based on semifinal as well, where the Americans had it a little bit? Well, let's be real. It was a lot tougher. They had to play Finland, which is the third best team in the tournament. They won bronze over Switzerland today. Do you think that plays into effect here? I know they had a couple of days off, but is that somewhat of concern?
No, I think that Canada, I mean, granted, I think the U.S. will bring a good game tonight, but I just think that Canada is just heavily favored in this one. And we've seen why. I mean, they are just so dominant offensively. The level that they're playing at right now it's next level. It's something that maybe we quite haven't even seen in women's hockey, which is really exciting, because the day and age we're in now, women's hockey is starting to climb and rise. And, we hope for a good game tonight, but I don't think that any fatigue or anything is going to be on Canada's side. I think they're going to come out knowing the importance level of this game.
Well, I think women's hockey's at its peak right now, for the best it's ever been. Not exactly the most competitive, as it's been pointed out before, compared to years like 2002, but for absolute speed, skill, performance, I don't think anything's touching the level that these ladies are at right now in 2022. And I want to ask you, being down in the States, how big would an American win be? Let's be real, because 2 Olympic golds in a row, that's got to be massive for the sport, and just an absolute injection into the youth programs in the state, or in the States, seeing their country succeed.
Oh, it would be so huge for the U.S. to win this game tonight. And I know that back in the fall, I was a part of Cami Granado's women's hockey showcase series, and I got to see some of the young, talented girls that are coming out and playing hockey with their teams, and just the excitement level for them was so exciting to watch and look at. And I talked with a lot of them, and they were just saying, who they look up to, and all these girls on the women's team are just such role models to them. So getting a win tonight, I'm sure, would mean so much to all of those young girls that are looking up and hoping to get to that next level, like the women are on the team.
You do know Cami Granado. I forgot about that. I saw that. What did you think about her getting a job in Vancouver? That's pretty unreal. Like, for her moving up from a scout to an AGM.
And she is such a brilliant hockey mind. When I talked with her, you can tell that she lives and breathes hockey, and she gets it. Like, she knows the challenges that, women have in hockey, and she wants to make it a more inclusive sport. And I think that she's going to bring a really good perspective to the Canucks.
Okay, we got to go back to the Olympics, though, for a second. Of course, hey, it's Cody Janes and Alexis Downey with you on World Hockey Report. Get your USA-Canada gold medal predictions in right now in the chat, 12-Ounce Sports, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're watching from. Chance to win a World Hockey Report prize back if you are correct. Alrighty, Alexis, I want to ask about the goaltending, and specifically towards Canada, because Anne-Renee Desbiens has, she's been their go-to. Maybe a couple of errors against Switzerland, though, that definitely rocked the boat with Canadian hockey fans being like, oh, if that happens during the gold medal game, they're in trouble. Is that something where you think the Americans have the upper hand, is goaltending this year?
Alex Cavallini is going to be in net for the U.S. Tonight. And I think that you have to rely on your goalies, and the fact that, Canada has stayed solid with Anne-Renee. I think that it's not an area of concern for them because, it's okay, if you have those little, we'll say, hiccups every so often. But I think that they're just mentally going to be in a state where they're just fully prepared all around. They know the level of importance of this game. And I don't think that goaltending should be a worry for them, honestly.
Do you think the Americans need a bit more of Hillary Knight and Brianna Decker in this tournament, especially if they are to knock off Canada again as underdogs? They have had quite a few points from all across their roster, maybe not quite like Canada has. And I think that trusting their depth is an area that the U.S. doesn't use quite as much. And I don't think we'll see that tonight, because why would you not go with the best people in the game tonight? But I think that they've got a good leadership. It would be good to see the best from their best players. But I think everyone knows kind of their roles. Has there been one player, it doesn't matter what team, what country, whatever, that's really stuck out to you when you're watching a game? You're maybe like, oh, damn, didn't know about her. And now all of a sudden she's someone that you're glued to watching. Like every time she touches the puck, you're just like, yep, noticing her right away.
Well, I feel like this is kind of an easy answer, but where Sarah Nurse has been for Canada throughout this entire tournament and leading her team in points right now, she's just outstanding. So much fun to watch, and I've been rooting for her. And I think that obviously Canada will rely on her tonight too, but not necessarily someone that is an underdog by any means. But she's just really been amazing throughout the Olympics.
Definitely been a breakout tournament for her. She's definitely she's put in the category now of a world-class shot because of how she's scoring goals and just that next step that she's taken in her game. Okay, let's leave it at this, Alexis. Give me a prediction.
I think Canada will win this one tonight. Maybe in a similar fashion to the 4-2 win that they had over the U.S., but maybe more kind of like 2018. Maybe it's like a 3-2. I don't know about a shootout, though. I think it'll be won in regulation. So maybe we'll go 3-2, because I don't think it's going to necessarily be like a high-scoring game. So,
do you like shootouts to end hockey games, and especially when it's on this stage, like for a gold medal? Do you like shootouts?
Honestly, no, not really. It's so tough. Like emotionally, the roller coaster that you go through with that, it's a lot, especially at this stage.
I can't stand it. Maybe that's the former player in me. But Alexis, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy the game tonight, and best of luck. It's awesome to see what you guys are doing over at Stadium. And of course, you're playing a huge part in the hockey side there.
Thank you so much for having me.
Alexis Downey right there. Go follow her on Twitter at @AlexisDowney_ right now. She's the reporter for Icebreakers on Stadium. Of course, you can catch her, believe in Rangers, and NHL contributor for Live on the Line. Joining us here on World Hockey Report. Alrighty, we'll wrap it up. We're getting some questions about, who should Canada have taken instead? And that's such a loaded question. I wish I could find it. We're getting so many texts and comments right now. They're just coming in hot and heavy when you talk about Canada and disappointing in the same sentence. But to swing it all back to the men's side of things here, let's pump the brakes on, okay, just because they didn't have any NHLers, it doesn't matter. Well, I still think you should be able to ice a competitive team, and losing out in the quarterfinals means you're not damn competitive. That's as simple as you can put it right now. So I got 5 names, and they're forwards right now. They're forwards right now. I got 6 names. I'll throw in a 6th. Maybe it's a questionable 6th, but seeing the way that McBain, Power, those guys played. Who's the other college guy? Yeah, Kent Johnson. Seeing the way those guys played, I would have liked to see Carter Savoy get an opportunity. And it's still asinine how he didn't make the World Junior team. It's an absolute joke. But the way Canada needed scoring, I'm telling you, some of these young guys would have helped. And then you watch the success that Yuri Slafkovsky had in Slovakia. Well, he's a draft eligible. So let's stop making excuses of why Shane Wright couldn't be there. Hey, Connor Bedard, he's having one of the best 16-year-old seasons ever in Western Hockey League history. You're going to tell me that you don't think Connor Bedard could hold his own in this Olympic tournament right now? That's insane. That's crazy talk. There's no way that Connor Bedard and Shane Wright wouldn't have been able to hold their own, if not help and do even more than Canada did in this one. Like, how could it have got worse? They're not losing to China. They're not losing to Germany. So, boom, you've got those 3 wins in your back pocket already. Sure, maybe they have an off game against the Americans. What, you lose by 3 or 4 instead of 2? What does that really matter? You're still in the quarterfinal. You're still in the same spot, except now you're getting guys some extra experience, and you're just helping Hockey Canada get more eyes. Because right now, we're having the debate about, is Slafkovsky in the same category as Wright? Is he in the same category as Logan Cooley? The only reason that's happening is because Slovakia trusts their young guys on the bright stages. Why Hockey Canada doesn't? Well, I couldn't give you an answer. Max Verona in the Swedish Hockey League as well. I mean, you've got help on the wings. Where did Canada struggle? They really couldn't generate anything to the outside on Sweden. So, I mean, Verona should have been there, the SHL right now. I think he's leading. Maybe he's not leading the league, but he's up there in points. And you got 2 guys in the Dell, and it's not a jab at Landon Ferraro, but when I'm thinking about offensive ability and who's going to provide the most oomph in my lineup, I mean, Riley Sheen's got to come to head. You know, there's a couple that Allison also comes to mind. You know, these are guys in Germany right now in the Dell that are proving their worth in a sense, but also they're just producing. That's what you need. End of the day, it doesn't matter what team, you know, if you played on Team Canada U17 West, if you played on the Ivan Halinka tournament with Team Canada 10 years ago, I think Hockey Canada's got to drop the act that, you know, this is something that has to stick with you forever. Go outside of the bubble. Find someone new. It's not that hard. It's not that crazy to think about of maybe we shouldn't care if they played on a World Junior team or Team Canada at the under 18 level. You know, it really shouldn't matter about, oh, well, they're on this club and this club's got a Canadian coach and he gives them good recommendations, so we'll trust them. I don't know. I mean, it was just embarrassing for Canada, if we're going to be honest, about how this tournament went. Moving along, though, the USA, do we got to dive into that? I don't know if we've got time for that, Tom. I'm sorry, we'll get that. Like, you know, it's the whole American hockey system. What's wrong with USA Hockey? Well, they won the World Juniors last. I don't think there's anything crazy wrong with it. It's just at the men's level, they're kind of doing what Canada's doing. They're not putting together a successful hockey program, or they're not building it right. They're not preparing properly. And end of the day, it's just going to be full of excuses now of why they lost out in the quarterfinals along with Canada. Gavin wants to talk about the Cousins cross-check. Says it was such a weak cross-check, it's laughable. Well, laughable or not. Also, I commented, and Amalek the Titan thinks that Adam Ermintrout can't play in the Olympics. Oh, man, people take Twitter way too seriously at times. Bruin says 5-2 Canada. That's his prediction. This is where not having Decker is going to show. You know, we kind of talked about, do they need a little bit more out of Hillary Knight? You know, do they need a little bit more out of Kessel? I think that there's a couple. Did I say Decker? I don't know. I'm going to have to go back to that interview and see if I messed up that. But end of the day, I'm excited to see it. Get your predictions in. Tag us on Twitter at World Hockey RPT. I got to wrap things up. If you missed any of the conversation, any of the Olympic talk, any of the Oiler talk, former NHLer Jason Strudwick interview as well, and Alexis Downey got us set for Canada, USA tonight. It's going to be a good one. Gold medal. 9 o'clock Alberta time, 11 o'clock Eastern time for myself, Cody Jansen, Jeff Beck back at the 12-ounce sports studios, Adam Ermintrout, Bryce Bonds, Eric Krause, Isha Jerome, everyone who helps put this on. Be sure to use promo code THPN on DraftKings as well. Quack Stats, the most advanced player tracking technology. That's my go-to for advanced analytics, and Quack Stats is the ones to hook it up. Alrighty, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. Same time, same place. Enjoy the Canada-USA game tonight. It's going to be a blast. Everyone, be kind, be better.